So everyone, welcome to Power Play with CJ. Today we're going to do our 10 questions on the Toronto Maple Leafs, or my 10 questions on the Toronto Maple Leafs, Friday solo. Without further ado, number 10 is David Clarkson, Wendell Clark. No one's Wendell Clark. And I think, the Toronto paper really jumped the gun, with that thing, the cover, when they signed him. And, I think the Bluebirds will be raining down on Clarkson by February. I mean, he got a great deal. I love him as a player. I think he's a very, just tenacious guy that, he really battled his way to get to the NHL. But, he's not worth the money they gave him. And I mean, I hate to put a guy down like that, but it's just, he's not worth it. And especially with the cap going down. But anyway, number 9, Morgan Rielly on the team. Absolutely. Book it. He'll be their best defenseman by the end of the year. I am in love with this kid's game. Smooth skating defenseman, offensive prowess. I think him and Jake Gardiner will be the future of Toronto's blue line for years to come. I really love what they both bring to the table, and I can really bring you a two-headed monster in terms of puck-moving defensemen that are elite at doing just that and have skating ability to spare too. So we'll actually talk more about the blue line coming up. Number 8, 45 goals for Phil Kessel. No, 42.5 over under. I think he's definitely due. I think he's due for his first 40-goal season. I think he's going to get 40 next year. He had a point a game this year. Actually, 52 points in 48 games. And I think he's ready to have 40. I mean, I think the 2008-2009 with the Bruins, he had 36 in 70 games. I think he definitely would have got 40 that year. If you watched him play that season, you'd agree with me. But I think definitely next year is due for 40. 45 is pushing it. Number 7, if Morgan Rielly makes a team and Jake Gardiner continues his great development, will Dion Phaneuf be traded? I say possibly. I put the odds at 35%. Was handicapped at that. We'll see what happens, but I definitely think it's possible that Dion Phaneuf is not a Toronto Maple Leaf by the end of next season. Number 6, breakout season for Tyler Bozak. No, he's going to continue his solid production. Another one that got a contract he may not have warranted. Number 5 is, will Joel Colborne be in the top 6 next year? Absolutely, I think so. I like what I saw from him. I think he's warranted a spot. I think he's playing the minor leagues, especially he's playing the playoffs last year for the Leafs, was exemplary, and I think he'll continue to develop and give you a very large center down the middle that, the Joe Thornton and Ryan Getzlaf comparisons aren't fair to him, but I think you'll definitely get a very skilled, big center. So that's what you get from Joe Colborne. Number 4 was Boland worth the draft picks to give up for him. Yeah, another one that's maybe a little overpaid, but what you're getting for him, Stanley Cup hero, a guy that knows how to win. What not only is on the ice tangibles, but his intangibles in the locker room, showing these guys who have been, I know last year, blowing Game 7 and being on a morbid franchise last couple of years. I think he's going to show them what it takes to win, and he'll be big time for them. Number 3, 35 goals for JVR. No, I put his over under at 29.5. Really handicapping it. I think he's due for. I don't think he's had 30 before JVR, so I think he's definitely due for it. And I think the American contingent next year with him and Kessel. I think they'll both be U.S. Olympians next year, and we'll see what happens from there. But I definitely think he's due for a very good offensive season. There's a reason he was the number 2 pick in the draft by the Philadelphia Flyers, and I think he'll showcase that skill. I mean, we've seen flashes of it, and especially last year, his first year in Toronto, I thought he played very well at times. But I think he's going to continue to develop and show why exactly. Bobby Clarke and Paul Holmgren pulled the trigger on him with the number 2 pick 6 years ago. Number 2, will Nazem Kadri continue his development and be a point-a-game player next year? He obviously had 44 points in 48 games. I mean, he really turned a lot of heads. I thought the organization definitely mishandled his development for a while, and he had every reason to be ticked off and everything. But he harnessed the energy correctly, put it, in terms of getting better, and I think he's going to be due for a nice contract before too long. And I think he's definitely ready. If he's centering like Kessel and JVR next year, I mean. I think that could be an amazing line for them, and I think he's going to, like I said, continue to break out. I think I like his game. I liked him when he was with the Kitchener Rangers and later on the London Knights, and I thought, like I said, Toronto should have been more liberal in how they let him develop. I thought they were too conservative with him. I mean, I don't know if that's the right politically correct way to say it, but I definitely think they should have taken the reins off him sooner and given him top 6 minutes when his playing the minors and juniors warranted it. I thought when he was 18, his first game, he was one of Toronto's best players. And they sent him back to juniors. He lights up the OHL, has a great World Junior Tournament, wins a silver medal, USA. But Then the next year he's kind of buried in the minors. The year after that, more of the same deal. And then this year, the Dallas Eagles comments about his weight and everything, and then he comes up to the NHL level and it's just amazing for him. So we'll see what happens. But number one question: Bernier or Reimer? Gonna say Bernier. I thought they made some pretty bold moves this offseason. I thought that was one that they probably shouldn't have made. I would have rolled Reimer personally. I know the Game 7 collapse and all that, but I mean, you don't pin all of your success or failure on just your goaltender. I think you can pin all your success on him once in a while, but that team collapsed collectively, and I wouldn't put it on just him. But I think it'll be Bernier's job to lose as the season goes on, and I think there's a reason they gave up Scrivens, Frat, and a pick for him. He's a hell of a goalie. He's been waiting for his opportunity. I think he will beat out Reimer. I mean, it's kind of a fixed competition, to be honest. But I was wondering, if they held that lead against the Bruins. I think the Bruins completely clear house their organization. They kind of did that anyway, letting Horton walk and letting Tyler Seguin and trading Tyler Seguin. But I think Toronto definitely. Would they have given the Rangers or Pittsburgh or any of those teams a run? I don't know, but you can't sit around and think about hypothetical situations. You got to be tangible with how you deal with hockey operations, and they did that by making the Bernier move, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all this episode of the Power Play with TJ. The 10 questions for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the offseason and beyond. Later, guys.